This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealer.
Hi everybody, and welcome into our show for this week. It is very difficult to believe that it was only a few short months ago that we were in the midst of one of the coldest winters on record around our four-state region. And here we are now in August with one of the hottest summers in the last few years. And that is making fishing conditions all around the region very difficult. Water surface temperatures are in the low to mid 90s in many of the rivers, lakes, and bays around our region. However, the good news is that there are some things that you can do to give yourself the best chance to be successful on your weekend fishing trip. Coming up in the next half hour, we're going to be talking about some of the methods and techniques that you can adapt and use during this hot spell to help you catch more fish of all kinds this coming weekend. And while I'm doing that, you're going around the region all the way from Oklahoma with Gary Dollahan, down to Louisiana with Cajun Phil and Kevin, Texas freshwater with Brian Hughes, and along the Texas Gulf Coast with my friend Bill Olson. Also this week on the Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week, I've got a spot in West Texas where the largemouth bass and crappie are biting very well. I'll share that with you. On Barry's Real Fishing, we've got some information on a striper stocking program by Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. And later on the Big Catch of the Week, I'm going to show you a giant redfish from Louisiana. So let the sweat begin, and while I get the Nitro ZA out on the lake and get set up, we're taking you back to Heather at the FSN studio for your Chevy weekend planner.
A check of the Salonar tables reveal that the best morning times for fishing will begin on Saturday at 8:15 and on Sunday at 9 o'clock. If you want to beat the heat with night fishing, evening peak hours will start at 8:40 Saturday and 9:20 on Sunday. This weekend we'll see the sun rising at 6:54 and setting at 8:07. We're going to also have a waning moon that's 75% visible. Have a fantastic time in the outdoors, everyone. Now back to Barry.
Thanks very much, Heather. We're out on the lake, and before we even get started, let me mention what may be the most important thing you can do before you go fishing, and that is coat yourself, overdo it with sunscreen and lip balm. Now, I use a 70 SPF sunscreen, which is the highest number I can find in the drugstore. Apply it to every bit of exposed skin anywhere on your body and reapply it several times during the day. The other thing you want to be sure and do is find some lip balm with a high SPF number with sunscreen already in it. Apply that to your lips several times a day. Very important to protect yourself from skin cancer. Unfortunately, I've already had to have several places cut off my face, arms, and legs. You don't want to have to go through that. So do this and protect yourself before you even head out. Stay with us. When we come back, Brian Hughes is up next with your Texas Freshwater Fishing Report, and Bill Olson is on the Texas Gulf Coast.
This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealer.
Hey, welcome back everybody. This week on the show we're talking about extreme fishing and extreme heat for the rest of the hot weather months. And there is one very critical factor we need to talk about. That is the time that you fish. The best time is going to be at night, but if you're not going to fish at night, be sure and be out very early in the mornings. It's the best time, your best chance to catch fish. Why? Two specific reasons. Number one, the sun's rays are hitting the water at a much flatter angle in the morning. They're not penetrating as deep into the water, and the fish are less intimidated to come up into shallower water up close to the surface and bite your lure. But the second may be even more important. Fish can feel even a ½ degree of surface temperature, of water temperature change. You're looking now at the Lowrance HDS5 flush mounted into the bow of my Nitro bass boat, and you can see the water surface temperature is 89 degrees. Now that's very hot, but it's as cool as it's going to be today. Later on, this surface temperature will work its way all the way up into the mid 90s. So if they can feel a ½ degree of change, they can certainly feel the difference between 89 and 95. Get out early for your best chance at success during the extreme heat. Here's Brian Hughes with your Lone Star Lakes, the Texas Freshwater Fishing Report.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Snag Proof Lures. Now this week we're going to go crappie fishing, but it's not going to be deep over the brush piles. That's where they are during the day. At night on Texoma, Cedar Creek, and Cypress Springs, they'll move up to the boat docks. Now they do this at the deep water docks. That's very important. Don't go way back in the shallows. Stay out on the deep water docks. Use your slab slayers, your crappie jigs, and of course live minnows to catch them. Now, Fayette County, Choke Canyon, both have schooling bass. You have a couple of ways to do this. Top waters, of course, like your pop-Rs, your spooks, and your head and torpedoes will catch the little bass on top. But try this, a jumbo, big, deep diving crankbait. Throw it over the school and reel it down deep. That'll catch you the big ones that are hanging out underneath the little ones. And finally, your license will expire on August 31st for this year. New ones are already on sale at the Parks and Wildlife website or most of your retail sporting goods stores. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Snag Proof. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Killer Tackle by TTF, producers of the Stingmate, Stingray Sting First Aid Kit, and Jellyfish Sting Relief Gel. Don't go wade fishing without them. They're available at tackle retailers or the website on the screen. Hot weather has pushed speckled trout to deeper channels and holes, while upper slot and oversized redfish continue to school up in advance of their fall migration. Recently, upper coast offshore activity has produced solid action for kingfish, ling, and sharp-nosed sharks. 15 miles out of Freeport, a 7-foot sailfish was hooked up with another sailfish spotted in the spread. Out of Port Aransas, amberjacks, wahoo, and a few tuna are other species being caught. On light wind days, the shell pads around the rigs in Corpus Christi Bay, as well as of Bolivar Point, are holding speckled trout. Use a Carolina rig with enough weight to get your live bait or soft plastic down to the fish, holding at or near the bottom. On the lower coast, before and just after first light, speckled trout have been caught in the surf as well as in the bays just off the edge of the grass lines. Late in the afternoon, the flats continue to see increased activities of schooling redfish. Gold and black spoons plus TTF's Killer Flats minnow are good choices. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Thanks very much, Bill. Before we head out to our next break, I want to mention a couple of other critically important factors in this kind of intense heat. First of all, you want to dress up rather than down. Long sleeve shirts to protect your arms. Wide brim hat rather than a ball cap so that you can protect your face, your ears, the back of your neck. Gloves to protect the backs and the tops of your hands while they're exposed while you're fishing. And the other factor is in this ice chest. I did some research. The medical experts say for a 180-pound person about my size to fish for 8 hours in this kind of heat, you need to drink almost 1 full gallon of water. Don't be messing around with these little bottles. Bring yourself a gallon and drink all of it by the time you leave the lake. Drink before you're thirsty. Drink at least once per hour. Set your watch if you have to. Stay with us. Gary Dollahan is up next with your latest fishing reports from Oklahoma.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealers, is brought to you by Nitro Performance Bass Boats. Fish your best in a Nitro. By Stren, the standard of dependability. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And by Motor Guide, never stop.